Greetings, everyone. My name is Vinay. Now let's have a look at the agenda. So today we'll learn how to install and integrate AppHost. When I say learn, we'll also be looking at some prerequisites as to what you need to do to install an AppHost. Then we'll be looking at how to check the QRadar source integration capabilities with other security tools. And we'll also be looking at how to install and configure an app. Now we go with an assumption here. We believe you possess a fundamental grasp of IT security and you're familiar with the basic concepts of SIEM and SOAR. So let's get started. So let's understand some basic definition of AppHost. So what is AppHost in terms of QRadar SOAR platform? It's a Kubernetes-based container deployment environment that hosts app containers. Okay. Now AppHost is paired to only one SOAR organization. However, a single organization can be paired to multiple app hosts. Now, while dealing with app hosts and apps or applications in QRadar SOAR platform, we come across certain terminologies. Let's have a look at them. So an app is a collection of customizations, code executables, or both that represent an end-to-end function. Now, an app is available in two formats. One is AppHost Kubernetes-based container environment, and the other one is the known extension format. Now, this one requires an integration server. We'll be looking at this part in our next session. App Manager Service is a service running on the SOAR platform. Now, this service interfaces with the app host. App Host Controller is a controlling application on the app host that manages containers and container-related operations sent from the app host management service to the app host. Now, the screen grab that you're looking at is the architecture. So let's understand how this works. So on the left side, you can see there is App Exchange, there is local system, there's boxes. There's one box which represents SOAR organization. There's another box that represents app host. And at the last, we see container repo and external SOC tool. So let's understand the flow and what this architecture has to offer. So it mainly consists of SOAR platform, app host, container repository, and connections to any security applications. Now, AppHost provides a container environment for each app. Okay, the instances of the AppHost, they run in a Kubernetes K3s environment. So for SOAR platform, you can download and install one or more apps from our IBM Security App Exchange, and then you can configure and test the app, and then you can assign it to AppHost. Once you finish this process, this app is available for use. Okay. Now, if you look at the SOAR organization box here, you can see there's App Manager. So from the App Exchange, you download the app, you save it on your local system, you push it to your SOAR organization, you install and deploy the app, and then you need to point this app to your app host. So before you do that, you need to deploy your app host, which we'll be looking at in the next upcoming slides and the demo. So once you install and deploy the app host, you need to pair. If you can see, there's a small box which mentions about pairing. Now, and this to be done on 443. So what do you really mean by pairing? Why do I need to pair my app host and my SOAR platform? We'll be looking at that in detail in the second half of the session, where Prabir will explain the importance of pairing. And you can see the app host talks about various containers. It has apps and their respective configuration files. Now, at the last, you can see there is container repo, QRadar.io. What is this? So AppHost by default connects to IBM official repository, QRadar.io, to access the app's executable. However, you can configure your AppHost to use your own repository. We'll be looking at that as well. Now, the SOAR platform can reside in your own environment, commonly known as on-prem configuration, or within the IBM cloud, also known as SaaS configuration. This app host that resides in an environment must be able to access the SOAR platform, the QRadar.io repository, or for that matter, your own repository, and the hosts of the third-party applications that are integrated with your SOAR platform. So you can see there's external SOC tool, which is also communicating with your app host, and then in turn communicating to your SOAR platform. Now, let's look at the installation methods. So AppHost is available to install as in two formats. One is the standalone software .run file and the virtual appliance, which is the OVA format, Open Virtualization format, quite similar to installation to our SOAR platform. Now, from one installation, you can create one or more instances of AppHost. You can create multiple app hosts from the same image. From one installation, you can create one or more instances. And if you encounter any problems with the deployment or pairing, you can access the app host logs using this command, sudo app host package logs. Now, while setting up app host, you need to follow system requirements. So before you install the app host, you need to make sure it meets some set of minimum requirements. So the screen grab that you see, SOAR platform requires version 37.2 or later. Operating systems, we support RHEL 7.4 to 7.9 and 8.4 to 8.6. Make a note of that important highlight. At this point of time, RHEL 9 is not yet supported. Now, VMware hypervisor ESXi version is 7.0 or later. Disk space is 5 GB minimum, CPU is 2 cores, memory is 2 GB, and TLS version for Kubernetes API server is TLS 1.2. That's a minimum version. Now, if you wish to look at more details, you can see there's a URL that is mentioned at the end of this page. Now, the resources that are required by the app host are variable due to the unique requirements of the apps. Let's say some apps that operate on files in memory might need extra memory requirement, or some that run extensive computations, they or such as like decryption tasks, they might need more CPU resources. So these requirements may change based on the kind of setup that you have in your environment. Now for standalone installation, so the one that we looked at earlier is for virtual installation. Now standalone. So what you see here, these requirements that you see right now in the screen are in addition to the requirements in the previous tutorial. I'll just quickly go back to this. So apart from what we see here, these are the additional requirements that we need for standalone. So what do we need here? You need a user account that should have sudo privileges. You need to have disk partitions, 20 GB for slash, 400 MB for slash boot, 70 GB for parallel, and 10 GB for parallel. You can very well use LVM to manage these partitions. A couple of packages that needs to be installed, which are must. One is create repo package and one is container-se Linux package. Now the system that hosts the app host requires access to services on the internet and access to the SOAR platform. So what we recommend is that you work with your network administrator to ensure that your system has access to the following URLs to support the corresponding services. What are those? There is quay.io, there is docker.com, docker.io, and ntp.org. So let's take an example, ntp.org. This is to access your network time. So you want to make sure that App Host Manager on SOAR platform, they are in sync to avoid any clock skew. Now, there are different installation procedures depending on the app host package and your environment. Okay, let's look at that. So types of installation that we have, one is virtual appliance, and there's virtual appliance in air gap environment. One is standalone and one is standalone in air gap environment. For those who aren't aware of what air gap environment means, an air gap environment is a secure network isolated from other networks, in particular the internet. So these kind of environments do not really have a direct access to the internet. Now, to install this, either in virtual appliance format or in virtual appliance air gap, you can download that image from either the IBM Passport Advantage or IBM Support Fix Central. Similarly, standalone, this would come up in the format app host hyphen the version that you're trying to install and .run. This file will be available from the IBM Support Fix Central. Based on the installation procedure, you can decide. You need to remember that you can perform only one installation. Now, the upgrade procedure applies to both virtual appliance and standalone variations of the app host. So you can see you need to run set of commands. So before you do that, we would like to see what is the version of AppHost. So at any given point of time, you wish to see what's the version of AppHost, or you want to know before you want to perform an upgrade. Run the command sudo manage apphost -version. This would tell you the current version of your apphost. Then you can download the respective packages, as I mentioned in the previous slide, and you can run the commands bash apphost the version dot run. And if you're upgrading the AppHost virtual appliance, you need to install the security updates. For that, you need the command sudo bash apphost appliance security update hyphen the respective version followed by dot run. And if you're upgrading AppHost in an air gap environment, you need to make sure that you enter the URL. Why do I need to require to enter the URL to repository? Because air gap environments do not have access to internet. So you run the command sudo manage apphost upgrade registry -registry option followed by the registry URL. Then -user is the option followed by the username. You can, if you have multiple instances of AppHost, you can upgrade one of them, or you can select particular instance, or if you wish to upgrade, you can select all of them. So now that we have looked at prerequisites and installation procedures, you all must be curious as to how does the AppHost look and what does it really offer. Some of you probably working on QRadar SIM must be wondering, is it the same as the AppHost in QRadar? Because both have the same name, AppHost, and they both deal with apps. Are they really the same? Not really.